Back in the mid to late 90s when I lived back at home with my mother and father when I was a kid, obviously, we had a Windows 95 computer which, compared to what we're all running now, was absolutely diabolically shite. So I did try and play a lot of games on there, and I'd always been a console gamer before it, and I still was, but it just opened up a whole new range of gaming for me, and one that really gravitated towards me was the real-time strategy games. And I found loads, and what PC, I can't remember what it was called, PC Gamer or whatever, PC World magazine, I can't remember what it was called, but they'd always come with demo discs, and they were substantial demos. I mean, PlayStation had substantial demos, and PlayStation 2 did as well, so to be fair, it was quite a good time to just try out games. But the PC ones, I just absolutely loved, and I still remember for playing, you know, the Age of Empires and all that kind of stuff on the demo discs, and like I said, they were substantial demos, so you could put some chunky hours into them. They weren't timed or anything like that, they were just a good few levels of a lot of things, and I found so many. Unfortunately, a lot of them that I played, which I tried to find on Steam or remember the name of, I just can't, and they're going to be lost now to the memory bank, my failing memory bank as I'm becoming old and crusty. But I just thought I'd put together a little list of the games that I can remember and I own on Steam now that I used to play, that's just, I used to sink hours into. I used to just sit there and just live on the computer throughout the summer holidays from school or the half-term breaks or anything like that. And starting off is with Knights and Merchants. This game I found on a demo. I now own it, thankfully, on Steam, and it's been HD'd up, thankfully. But it's just a really chill game. There is combat in it. It's very minimal combat. It's more kind of based around making sure you have enough food to feed all your people and your individual troops, so you have to make sure that you have food coming in, you have to get stone to build roads and buildings, and you have to make sure you obviously got the lumberjack guy to get all the wood, and then the carpenter to turn it into planks. It's a really cool game with a lot of little moving parts. It's got a really cool story. It's just really chill. It's a lot slower paced than a lot of other RTSs, but it's a game that I would just sit there and spend, and the art style is incredibly charming, and I absolutely love it. It just reminds me, it's almost sort of similar to the Settlers games, but unfortunately, my favourite Settlers game, Settlers 3 I believe, is just a pig to get working on modern consoles, so I couldn't capture footage of that one. But the Settlers 2 and 3, I used to play a ton of as well. But Knights and Merchant is definitely a game that you should look out for if you're looking for any RTSs to play. Now, of course, what kind of 90s gaming kid would I be if I had not played Command & Conquer? This is obviously the more recent remastered version of Command & Conquer, but it's still the same game nonetheless. And I used to have a ton of fun on Command & Conquers. A lot of people loved Command & Conquer and Red Alert, Tiberium Sun and all that. Command & Conquer was a staple of the RTS genre for a long time until EA just killed it dead. But before then, back then, it was just super cool with its fully with its full FMV sequences done by actual actors, and then the later games a lot of recognisable faces like Michael Ironside in my favourite Command & Conquer 3. That one is my definite favourite. And once again, it's all the Command & Conquers are back on Steam, which is great, so you'll be able to actually play them at your leisure, which is cool. But Command & Conquer was definitely a game that I used to absolutely love the crap out of. Caesar 3. This game was my everything back in the day. I mean, being British and being sort of in some way descendant from the Romans, because obviously they colonized. See, the English weren't the only people that colonized. Get off our back. But because they colonized the British Isles, so I think we just have an unspoken affinity with the Roman Empire, and it's just a really cool game. It's a very simple game. You've got to build houses, and you've got to make sure that those houses get what they need in order to grow and expand, and you've got to make sure that you create jobs and everybody has access to religion and clean water and health and entertainment and all that kind of stuff. There is some combat as well in the game if you choose that said path. The game is just so it just has such a good style. It has really memorable music. It's a really cool game. Once again, I only played this on a demo back in the day, like 25 years ago, and it wasn't until obviously Steam came out, and the game is on Steam and Caesar 4 as well. Although I prefer Caesar 3 to 4, if I'm honest. But I think that's just nostalgia. But Caesar 3 is definitely one of my favorite games from my childhood. The same goes for Zeus, which is done in the same vein. I think done by the same people as well. It's exactly the same premise as with Caesar 3, but just in ancient Greece, so it's more Greek, but there's a lot of mythological creatures, and you can actually spawn heroes like Hercules and whatnot, and you can actually fight them, so you can fight Hydra and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. And once again, it just has a really cool art aesthetic and just looks a lot more Greek, with Caesar 3 looking a lot more Roman. But there's also a third game that they kind of made as well, Pharaoh. And Pharaoh is, well, just based in ancient Egypt and is really awesome. So you can just do exactly the same. It's just more of an Egyptian aesthetic. And what was really cool with this one was that you have to be very careful with the food, because there was flooding or droughts or whatnot that would remove your ability to get food, so you got to be very careful with it, what it is that you do. But Pharaoh is a ton of fun, and again, just these RTSs, Caesar 3, Pharaoh, and Zeus, I could sit and play these games forever and a day. Next up is Anno. Now this one is 1501, I believe, but I think this is the one I played as a kid. I have all the Annos that you can get on Steam, but I think there may have been one before this that I played, I think. But it does look like the Anno I played, but I remember long Saturdays when it was raining outside, and I'm just sat there next to the window playing this game and absolutely loving life, creating settlements on all of the different islands, exploring the islands, doing ship combat. The Anno games are really, really cool, and once again, they are games that I could just sink time into, and I just had a ton of fun. I like the idea of being able to go around to the different islands, and different islands having different materials and different minerals and stuff that you need, and obviously with all the trade that you can do as well. It's just, these kind of games are just there to just have you sit and lose track of time completely. And finally, of course, Age of Empires. Obviously, this is the HD, more remastered version, but Age of Empires nonetheless. And the amount of time I spent on Age of Empires as a kid, I don't think can be counted by me. Definitely. I spent far too much time playing this game. And even back then on the Windows 95, it was a lot slower frame rate because the computer probably was below the minimum specs for the game. But it's just such a damn good game, and I enjoy playing Age of Empires 4 now. I absolutely suck on the multiplayer department because I like just playing the game and just playing the game, but a lot of people like bum rushing. They just like getting a quick, easy win to get up the rankings because they will follow the same YouTube tutorials, which is a shame, unfortunately. Nobody really wants to play the way they want to play anymore. They have to play the meta way or the most efficient way in order to win. Otherwise, you're being left behind, like myself. But that's gaming, that's life. I've accepted it. So that's just, I still try, and I do win occasionally, but for the most part, I kind of get rinsed, which is absolutely fine. But Age of Empires 1, I spent so much time on, and with its expansion as well. It's just so good, you know. Getting the wood, getting your gold, getting your stone, getting your food, and then building an army and going out and decimating the enemy. Now, even the AI on the original Age of Empires can be straight savage. I mean, you can see here on this gameplay that this is. I think I put it on hard difficulty. I can't remember, but I'm at the bottom of the score on the right hand side of the screen above the map. So the AI are absolutely stomping me, but I do get some good hits in from time to time, and I do win from time to time. And I just like achievement hunting on the original Age of Empires, to be honest. I don't play competitively on it, and I'll be honest, I prefer Age of Empires 4 to Age of Empires 2. I know that's blasphemy, but sorry, I do. And I prefer Age of Empires 1 to Age of Empires 2, but again, that could just be nostalgia. I didn't really play much of Age of Empires 2 because by that point I was on to Xbox, original Xbox and whatnot, and Halo and stuff, so It just kind of got molded and evolved by that. But this is just a little list of the games I used to play as a kid. Please let me know down below what you played, what you enjoyed, any good memories that you have of playing these games. These games just bring me back to summer holidays, bank holidays, that kind of stuff, where I just have nothing to do, lazy Sundays, and I just sit there and just be involved in these worlds. But as always, thank you very much for watching.